Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be discussing about the templates, and there are two different types. We can pass the parameters, unique data types, and we can pass multiple data types. So first, we'll learn what is meant by templates in the theory part, and examples will be discussing about the unique data type and multiple data type. So let's move on to our Dev C++ ID. First, let us learn what is meant by templates. Okay, what is the use of templates, right? First, template is a powerful tool in a C++. Okay, so what does it does is, so whenever we are passing parameters or arguments, like for example integer we are passing, so we are getting value as integer. If we are passing float, we are getting float. For example, there are two different types of data types, integer and float. Then what would be the output? If we are using in a function void return, void sum of return, sorry, integer sum of return, we are getting the integer. But if you are passing two different data types, then at that point it would be an issue. So for that solution, and not only that, if you are using similar unique data types, the number of lines could be very large. And so to reduce the code and to improve the efficiency and of the code, we are using templates. So before entering into templates, I'll show a simple example without using templates. After that, I'll show how simple it is with using the templates. So let me make an without using templates. So first I'll make a simple class without using any templates. I'll use string using namespace std. Okay, so for example, class is my add and dj comma b, let us think. So in my public void of sum integer x comma integer y, and a equals to x and b equals to y, and then I'm returning x plus 5. So I'm returning two integers, right? So the return type should be my integer. After that, I'm simply closing the class. After of so outside the class, I'm using main function. From my main function, I'll be calling my this member function. Okay, so for example, take integer sum equals to, first let me create an object of add a and a dot 10 comma 20, for example. So let me print it quickly. Integer b, so c out of b. Okay, so yep, my answer would be 30, right? So if I'm, it is reloading. Okay, answer is 30, right? 10 plus 20, I'm passing the parameters to my member function, and I'm getting the return as 10 plus 20 as 30. So if I'm using 10.1, okay, it is taking time. Okay, my answer is still 30, but my answer should be 30.1, right? So that's the issue. For example, if I'm changing here float, let us check once again. So answer is still 30 because 20 plus 10 is 30.1, but let us check change here itself, float b. So let's check what would be the output here. It's still 30. So how we are adding the float data types, it is not going to show the output value as our 30.1, and we are not getting the appropriate results. So to solve this issue, we are using templates. So in templates, we are having two main keywords. So first is template. With the help of template keyword, we are going to form that. After that, type name. So type name is used as class. So majorly is used as class. We'll use class in place of template name, type name. So let us check how the templates work and the syntax of a template. So similarly, I'll make a simple class of add IOStream. After that, using namespace std. Okay, first I'll use the template keyword. This is my syntax of template keyword, and here this is my class, and here add. Okay, let me explain it clearly. So this is my template. I'm giving the template class, right? So here this is my type name. In place of type name I have just class, and I'm going to take the any type of return parameter. For example, if you are passing me integer, it will take integer and it will print the whatever the data will get the results. I mean, if you are passing integer, it will give me integer. If I am passing float, it will give me the value as float. So okay, let us, there is no need of it. So add of, for example, this is my sum function, and let me add a comma add b. Okay, so what are this, I mean, these are not primitive data types, right? Integer, these are not integer, float or character like that. These are made from the template class. I mean template, these are used if you are passing any type of parameters to it, it will give me return me that type of parameter. Okay, so let us check, return a plus b. So that's it in my integer main. And here is one more thing, for before calling it, we have to make that for example, if you are passing integer, we have to write like integer. Okay, integer of, okay, sum we are passing integer 10 comma 20, cout. Okay, okay, this is working 10 and 20. So if I'm passing 1.1 and 2.1, let's check what would be the output. Cout, add a sum, return a plus b, right? So I hope yes, I have to change it here because I have to mention clearly that I'm passing float here. So it will take the input as float and return me float. Yep, it is working perfectly. So if I'm using integer here, cout sum of integer, and then my function, for example, I'm passing 100 and 200. Okay, perfect. 100 and 200 gets added, and I'll be getting the values integer. And if I'm passing float 1.1 and 2.1, I'm getting the values 3.2. So before that, we are not getting the float value, because whatever the data we are passing to it, only it is going to return only that type of. If you are passing, if you are writing here integer, it will give me integer. If I'm writing float here, it is giving me float. But only the user has to choose whether I have to pass integer or float, not the function. So that's why templates are used. So here I'm passing float, right? I want the float value. So whenever I'm passing float value, it is returning me float value. Whenever I'm passing integer value, it is giving me integer value. Okay, let us check one more thing. Cout sum of integer 191. Okay, it still works. So that's it. Okay, this is a first question, right? Unique data type. So if you want to multiple data type, what is mean by multiple data type? Means here we are using integer and integer, float and float, integer and integer. If we want to use, I want to use one integer, for example 1.1, and for example I want to use only single one. And for example, if I want to use cout of sum and float 1.3 and 2. I mean, you can see guys, here I'm using two different data types. This is integer and integer. Let me write here I comma I, and here it is my float comma integer, and this is my float comma float, and this is my float comma integer. Okay, So my answer should be different, right? Because I'm passing two different parameters. So let us check what would be the output here. So let me handle this. So okay, integer 100 comma 200, okay, but here we are not getting the value as 1.2. See guys, our value should be 1 plus 1.1 means we have to get 2.1. Okay, this is working perfectly and this is working perfectly, but this is not the output I wanted, because whenever I'm passing parameters, it should check, I mean whatever the value I'm passing, it is passing integer or float, that kind of data. So for that I'll make a simple another example. Here I'll be multiplying using namespace std. Okay, here first template is my keyword, and then this is my class, and let me write add one, add an, or I can write m and a class n. So what is this means m and n are taking the data type, whatever the data type I'm passing. For example, I'm passing integer, first it will take integer. If I'm passing integer comma float, it will take integer and it will take float. If I'm passing float comma float, it will take float and it will take float. That's what this means, m and n. So after that I'll simply, for example, if I am multiplying here, so whatever the data, for example, integer versus integer is integer, okay, I and I, okay, and then if I'm using float into float, it will get me float, and if I'm passing integer comma float, my output would be multiplication is float, and my if I'm passing float comma float, okay, first let me write float comma float would give me the output of float, and integer into float would give me still float, and a float into integer will still give me float value. So only we are going to get the integer value of here itself, right? So let's check what will the output. So I'm using return type as float. After that there is no need of using m of a function. So I'll use mul, and then let me use m of a comma n of b, okay. It will take the whatever the data I'm passing from my function. Okay, return a into b. Okay, in my integer main, so I have to pass the parameters, right? First cout multiply of, let me pass directly without using any data type. Okay, first let me check 10 and 20. Yes, it is working perfectly. 10 and 20 would answer is my 200. Let me keep it short. 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2 answer is 1. Okay, this works perfectly. So let me check one more uh, output. Okay, let me use 1.1 comma 2.1 2.2. Okay, yes, this is also working perfectly. Let me write handle. Yes, so first is my integer, right? I'm passing integer, that's why I'm getting the value as integer. Next time I'm passing the float without, I'm not giving anything to my member function, like here I'm not giving float, return me float value. It will directly check here whatever the data I'm passing, it will give me the value of float. If I'm passing integers, it will give me the value of integer. So that's why we are templates are very powerful. It gradually decreases our writing of code. So let's move on our next method, I mean next checkup, sorry, next check. So 1.1 comma 2.1 gives me the value of 2.42, and let me check one more. Cout of, here I'm using integer comma integer, right? Integer comma integer, let me check here, float comma float, it's working perfectly, and let me give the value of float comma integer, that is 1.1 comma, for example, 2. this is my float comma integer, right? So before that we are getting the value of integer only, so here my value should be float. Yes, it is working perfectly. 2 into 1.1 is 2.2. That's it. After that, my last is remaining is integer into float. Let us check that too. Cout multiplication of 2 comma 1.1, and this is my integer comma float. Yep, it is working perfectly. First, I'm passing. Let me. What we are going to take input from this video is whatever the data type I'm passing to my function, it will evaluate and it will return the final data type of that result. So that's the main function of template. So we can pass any type of data type to it. Templates, we can get the value of same. I mean, if you are passing integers, it will give it integers. If I'm passing float, it will give the value as float. So that's why it will reduce the line of codes that we are using. So I hope you are clear. Here I'm getting 2 into 1.1 is 2.2, but before we are not getting the value same here. See, here my output should be 1.1 comma 1 should be my value should be 2.1, right? But here it is not getting because here I am using integer. For every time we don't want to use integer, for float integer. So simple, this with the help of this we can simplify this. So this is the main theme of templates. In the next videos we'll be discussing about the arrays in our templates and how they perform in the templates arrays. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. So that's it for a video. Thank you.